Why Jean Stapleton didn't attend Carroll O'Connor's funeral. Jean Stapleton was born Jean Murray on January 19, 1923 in Manhattan, New York City. She grew up in a family that appreciated the arts and storytelling. Her mother, Marie Stapleton Murray, was a professional opera singer, and her father, Joseph Murray, worked as an advertising salesman. Jean's early exposure to her mother's musical talents and her family's encouragement of creativity played a profound role in shaping her lifelong love for performance. Though her path to fame would not come overnight, her determination, quiet strength, and natural gift for embodying everyday people made her one of television's most respected and admired figures. Stapleton's acting career began modestly in New York's vibrant theater scene. After studying at Hunter College and later performing in summer stock productions, she began honing her craft on stage, appearing in regional plays that allowed her to explore both comedy and drama. The 1940s and 1950 seconds were formative decades for Jean as she gained experience in off-Broadway and Broadway productions, working tirelessly to master her timing and emotional depth. Among her early stage roles were appearances in notable productions such as Damn Yankees, Bells Are Ringing, and Funny Girl, where her ability to blend humor with heart quickly earned her a reputation as a dependable and deeply talented actress. Her stage work reflected not only her technical skill, but also her empathy. She had an extraordinary ability to make audiences laugh one moment and cry the next, a rare gift that would later define her television career. Jean Stapleton achieved her greatest fame in the 1970s when she was cast as Edith Bunker on the groundbreaking CBS sitcom All in the Family. Created by Norman Lear, the series tackled social and political issues that were often considered taboo for television at the time. As Edith, the sweet-natured, kind-hearted, and sometimes naive wife of the outspoken Archie Bunker, played by Carroll O'Connor, Stapleton became a cultural icon. Her portrayal of Edith was tender and nuanced, a mixture of innocence, compassion, and moral strength. She turned what could have been a simple comedic sidekick into a richly layered character who symbolized decency and understanding in a world full of prejudice and anger. Stapleton's performance on All in the Family won her 3 Emmy Awards and 2 Golden Globes, but more importantly, it earned her the love of millions of viewers. Audiences found comfort in Edith's warmth and wisdom, often seeing in her the spirit of their own mothers, grandmothers, or neighbors. Through her gentle mannerisms, musical laugh, and unwavering faith in kindness, Jean created a character that transcended television. Many fans have said that Edith Bunker was not just a role. She was a reminder of the goodness that exists within people, even in times of hardship. When Edith was written out of the spin-off series Archie Bunker's Place after Stapleton decided to leave the role, it was one of the most emotional moments in TV history. Her absence was deeply felt both on screen and in the hearts of her audience. Beyond All in the Family, Stapleton continued to act in film, television, and theater, always seeking roles that challenged her and spoke to human truth. She appeared in movies such as Clute 1971, Something Wild 1986, and You've Got Mail 1998, showcasing her versatility and charm. On stage, she took on the role of Eleanor Roosevelt in the one-woman show Eleanor, Her Secret Journey, a performance that highlighted her dramatic range and deep respect for powerful female figures. Even in her later years, Jean never lost her curiosity or her dedication to storytelling. She believed acting was not about fame, but about connecting hearts and minds through honesty and empathy. Jean Stapleton's marriage to William H. Putch was one of the most defining and stabilizing relationships in her life, both personally and professionally. The couple married in 1957 during a period when Jean was still building her career as a stage and television actress. At the time, she was working in New York theater, appearing in Broadway and off-Broadway productions, while William Putch was already making a name for himself as a respected director and producer. Their marriage represented not only a union of love but also a creative partnership between two people who deeply understood the demands and sacrifices of a life in the arts. William H. Putch was the founder and director of the Totem Pole Playhouse, a summer theater located in Fayetteville, Pennsylvania. This regional theater became a vital part of their lives, serving as both a professional outlet and a family home during the summer months. Jean Stapleton often performed there during her hiatuses from television and film work, and together they nurtured the Playhouse into one of the most respected regional theaters in the United States. Their collaboration was characterized by a mutual respect for each other's talents. William guided productions behind the scenes with a steady and visionary hand, while Jean brought characters to life with her warm, intelligent, and deeply human performances. Throughout their marriage, the couple balanced the challenges of a demanding industry with a strong sense of family and shared purpose. They raised 2 children together, John Putch and Pamela Putch, both of whom would eventually pursue careers in the entertainment industry, inspired by their parents' dedication and creativity. The family was known for its closeness, often spending summers together at Totem Pole Playhouse, where the theater community became an extended family. Those who worked with the couple often spoke of the joyful, collaborative environment they cultivated, one that blended hard work, laughter, and deep artistic respect. Jean and William's marriage was marked by enduring love and mutual admiration that lasted until his untimely death in 1983. His passing was a devastating loss for Jean, as they had shared more than a quarter-century of life and art together. In interviews, Stapleton often reflected on how much she valued their time together and the creative partnership they enjoyed. She continued to support the Totem Pole Playhouse after his death, helping to preserve her husband's legacy and the theater they had built together. Her involvement kept his spirit alive and demonstrated her deep loyalty and affection for the man who had been her husband, collaborator, and closest confidant. Even as Jean Stapleton's fame soared with her role as Edith Bunker on All in the Family, she remained grounded by her relationship with William. He was not only her husband, but also a guiding force who encouraged her to take risks and stay true to her artistic integrity. Their marriage was an enduring example of how 2 creative people could thrive together, balancing personal devotion with artistic collaboration. In many ways, the stability and love she found with William H. Putch provided the emotional foundation that allowed Jean to bring such warmth, compassion, and authenticity to her performances. When William passed away in 1983, Jean mourned deeply, but also carried his memory forward in everything she did. She continued acting for many years, often choosing roles that reflected her own depth and sensitivity, qualities that had been strengthened through their shared journey. Friends of the couple frequently remarked that Jean never stopped speaking of William with love and admiration, remembering him not only as a brilliant director, but as the great love of her life. Their union remains one of Hollywood's quieter but most enduring love stories, rooted not in glamour or fame, but in shared passion, creativity, and the deep connection of 2 souls devoted to both each other and the art they loved. When beloved actor Carroll O'Connor, best known for his iconic portrayal of Archie Bunker on All in the Family, passed away in June 2001, fans around the world mourned deeply. His co-star, Jean Stapleton, who played his patient and loving wife Edith Bunker, was notably absent from his funeral, a decision that stirred public curiosity and even some criticism at the time. Yet, as Stapleton would later explain, her absence came from a place of profound respect and personal conviction, not indifference or emotional distance. For nearly a decade, from 1971 to 1979, Jean Stapleton and Carroll O'Connor had shared one of the most enduring partnerships in television history. Their on-screen chemistry as Archie and Edith Bunker turned All in the Family into a cultural phenomenon, redefining what television comedy could be. They explored issues of race, gender, class, and family with humor and heart, and together they brought authenticity to roles that could easily have slipped into caricature. Off-screen, the 2 shared a deep mutual admiration and professional respect. Stapleton often referred to O'Connor as a brilliant actor and a complex, deeply thinking man, while O'Connor once praised her as the heart and soul of their groundbreaking show. When O'Connor died, many expected Stapleton to be front and center at his funeral, standing alongside his family and longtime colleagues to pay tribute. But when she chose not to attend, questions began to swirl. Was there a rift between the 2? Had their friendship cooled over the years since the show ended? Stapleton, ever gracious and thoughtful, addressed the speculation gently and with clarity. "I loved Carroll dearly," she said in a later interview, "but my connection to him was through Archie and Edith. Those 2 characters had a life of their own, a shared life that was unique to them. For me, that was where our journey together began and ended. I didn't want to confuse that with the reality of his passing." To Stapleton, the bond she shared with O'Connor was profoundly artistic, rooted in the work, the craft, and the fictional marriage that had captivated millions. Attending his funeral, in her mind, would have felt like blurring the line between art and life, something she was always careful to avoid. "When we finished All in the Family, I said goodbye to Edith Bunker and to Archie too," she explained. "It was a chapter closed. I wanted to honor that boundary." Her comments reveal a woman of deep introspection and principle. Jean Stapleton was not cold or detached. She was simply a deeply private person who viewed her professional life through a spiritual and artistic lens. To her, mourning O'Connor was not something that needed to happen in public. "I paid my respects in my own way," she said quietly. "In my heart, I said goodbye." Friends of Stapleton later remarked that she had lit candles for O'Connor and spent time in prayer the day of the funeral. Those who knew her well understood that she had always been intensely spiritual, though not in a conventional way. Her sense of life, death, and legacy was tied to something larger than the moment, an understanding that art itself could serve as a memorial. In a sense, the laughter and tears that Archie and Edith brought to living rooms across America were already her ongoing tribute to O'Connor's memory. Many of O'Connor's admirers came to respect her reasoning once they heard her explanation. After all, their partnership on screen was immortalized forever. Every rerun of All in the Family, a reminder of their shared brilliance. The tenderness, exasperation, and humor they portrayed were timeless. Carroll's work speaks for itself. Stapleton once said, "We gave something to people that still makes them laugh and think. That's the greatest tribute either of us could ask for." In later years, as she reflected on her long career, Stapleton often mentioned O'Connor with warmth and gratitude. She credited him with helping to elevate television comedy to new heights and often expressed how proud she was to have been part of something that changed American television forever. Even though she didn't attend his funeral, her affection for him remains steadfast. "He was my partner in the truest sense," she said. "He made me a better actress, and together we created something neither of us could have done alone." Jean Stapleton's decision not to attend Carroll O'Connor's funeral may have puzzled some at first, but in truth it was the decision of a thoughtful artist who understood the sanctity of boundaries, both personal and creative. Her choice reflected a profound respect for the private nature of grief and an understanding that love and remembrance don't always require a public gesture. In her own quiet, dignified way, Jean Stapleton mourned not just the man who played Archie Bunker, but the creative force who helped her bring Edith Bunker to life. On May 31, 2013, the world bid farewell to one of television's most beloved figures when Jean Stapleton passed away, peacefully at her apartment in Manhattan at the age of 90. Her death marked the end of an era for fans who had adored her for decades as the sweet, kind-hearted, and unforgettable Edith Bunker on All in the Family. Stapleton's passing was not just the loss of a gifted actress, but of a woman whose warmth, grace, and quiet dignity touched millions. Even in her final years, she remained deeply admired for her humility and her steadfast refusal to let fame change her. Retriclade can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.